Hello, everybody out there in radio. You are listening to The Divide with Marcus C. Williams on WRFZ 106.3 Rochester Free Radio. We are here and we are in your ear having conversations that you need to hear and need to be had. So if you're following us online right now, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. I'd love to see those comments piling up and people saying, hey, hi, all types of hearts and emojis in the comments. That helps kick the algorithm to get this video out to more people. Also, definitely hit share it to some friends, share it to your page, share it to your group. And if you're listening to us on the radio, make sure you tell everybody to tune in and hurry to that dial. So we're going to be here for a little while. Let's jump into it. We're going to start with the amazing breaking news of Daniel Penny. Now, of those who are not familiar with the whole Daniel Penny situation, in New York City, there was a man who came on the train, irate and very frantic, demanding money and stuff from people, saying that he would hurt them or kill them and stuff like that. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the train in New York City. People get killed on the train in New York City. It's not uncommon to have a stabbing on the train in New York City. That honestly, unfortunately, happens far too frequently. We see it happen just the other day, as a matter of fact, there was a stabbing on the train. So, and there are more things that happen on the train that don't even go reported, that don't make it to the news. But ask a New Yorker, somebody from New York City that rides the transit, or look at what happens on the buses. So it's not uncommon that people really put hands on other people on the trains. I just saw a couple of different clips of stuff going on the other day. People just beating people on the train for no reason, hitting them and stuff like that. Okay. It's crazy. And this happens like crazy. There are people out there that just will put hands on anybody because they feel like they can, or legitimately they have some sort of a mental instability that really they need to be in a mental hospital. But there are no mental hospitals anymore because they shut all of those down in New York. So these people run raw riot all up and down any type of public area. We see it in my city where I live in Rochester, New York. We see the crazy people all the time. And a lot of these crazy people, they're not like the old homeless people that you used to have that you might have remembered growing up with. These are some people that seriously need to be institutionalized. I'm not a big institutionalized somebody type of person, but a lot of these people are violent, they're aggressive, and you can guess whether it's got to do with drugs or whether it's got to do with mental issues or whether it's some combination of both. But they are very frequently violent engagements with these type of people on the subway in New York City. Now, it's not just them, right? It's even people that are more regular minded. I don't know if you call them normal, call them jackwads, but those type of people that just feel like that they could press people on the train and stuff like that to try to assert their dominance or get their jollies off or whatever the case is, and like to try to punk other people on the train and stuff like that. That is something that is a regular occurrence on the New York City subway. So with the Daniel Penny situation, he's coming back from school or whatever the case is, or going to school, I don't know. And he's out there on the train, and this guy comes on, Jordan Neely, who is known to have mental instability. And according to him and the people on the train, he was terrorizing people. Now, again, this is something that we see happen all too frequently. So Daniel said, well, I'm going to see what I can do about restraining this man who's threatening these people on this train. Now, if you guys remember the whole situation with 9/11 and how they crashed into the Twin Towers allegedly because they had these terrorists with box cutters and nobody stood up. Well, we see worse than that on the train all the time. So that's a very serious problem. So Daniel, seeing this man being hyper aggressive, seemingly not in a stable type of mind, took the initiative to do what he could to restrain him and protect other people from him as well as protecting himself. So he put him in a chokehold. Him and some other people tried to restrain Jordan, and this was a situation that unfortunately ended up in the death of Jordan. Now, I live in Rochester, New York, and there was an incident a couple years ago with this man. His name was Daniel Prude. Much of a very similar situation to Jordan Neely. Now, with Daniel Prude, he was hyped up off of drugs. Okay, he was mentally unstable. He had come here from across the country to our city to try to stay with some family members here because his family members where he was didn't want him, refused to take care of him. His family members here couldn't handle or do anything with him because he's out his gourd and he really needed to be in an institution so he can get the proper handling that he needed because people, a lot of these people are seriously, unfortunately, for lack of a better term, damaged. And who has the ability in everyday life to deal with that type of a person and live at the same time? That's why they have people whose whole job it is to deal with that. And it's not an average type of situation or interaction with an average normal person. So when you have people that are trying to deal with those type of individuals who are not mentally stable, who are hyped up off of drugs and stuff like that, what can you do? You can't send them anywhere. There's nowhere that they can get the help that they need, the treatment that they need, or the constant supervision that they need. Because again, they've shut down all the institutions. There are some small here and there wards and stuff like that, but no mental institutions. We had, I don't know how tall it is. But in Rochester, where I am, it's still standing. We used to have I believe it's 22-story tall, okay, mental institution here. It's huge. It's huge. It's absolutely huge. Just think of how many rooms, hundreds and hundreds of rooms in that place, okay, maybe more, holding people that need an extra level of care that's not able to be provided at home. And this is serious. Now, the situation with Daniel Prude here in our city was he was hyped up off of drugs. He's already mentally unstable. His family, where he had come from, didn't want to take care of him. They were like, get the heck out of here. Okay. So he came here. His family here couldn't handle him or deal with him. They called the police on him because he's acting all types of crazy, threatening them and acting all erratic. The police come, they try to detain him or whatever the case is, blah, blah. Now, they put a spit mask over him so he can't spit on them. And people are like, oh, they put a bag over his head or whatever the case is. Now, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the spit bag or whatever the case is. It's not a plastic bag. Like, you either have to know nothing or really be attempting to deceive other people to say something like that. It's just blatantly not true. It's mesh. You can breathe through it and everything. It's just to prevent them from spitting on other people because, as you know, in New York State, even spitting on somebody can be a very serious crime. Okay? Even attempted murder in some cases because nobody knows what type of diseases and stuff that you got that you carry. Okay? That's spitting on somebody is legitimately considered assault. Okay? So that's a very serious thing. They put this spit bag on him. And then they tried to restrain him and he was acting all crazy and stuff like that. So when they were trying to restrain him, he was choked out, right? But he was still alive. They took him to the hospital. And the day after, he died at the hospital, right? Not related to the actual event of him being restrained. So the news media and these crazy people up here tried to turn it into something that it wasn't. And then his family decided that they wanted to come out the woodwork when wasn't nobody there for him before. Okay, sue our city, burn down our neighborhoods and communities, especially the underserved and Black neighborhoods. Don't get me started. I got a lot to say on it. I talk about it on another thing, but I'm just using this as a case in point to the Daniel Penny situation. Okay. He died in the hospital. I think it was 2 days later almost. Okay. Daniel Prude. Not the day that the incident happened, 2 days later. From multiple other causes, including the drugs that were in his system. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the drugs that are out here right now, but people are out here dropping like flies because of all the stuff in these drugs. And a lot of these drugs are very serious. Now, the crazy thing about the Daniel Prude situation is he was let out of the I guess you would say the hospital at the U of R here that same day. They let him out. That he had that engagement with the police, that his family called the police on him. His family called the police on him. If you couldn't handle your family members, how you think the police gonna handle it? Come on now. That's messed up. So don't get me started. I'm not gonna go into it. I just want to use this as an example. But he ended up dying at the same hospital that they did let him out from, that they didn't have no business releasing him from in the first place. You can clearly see that this man is all drugged up and this man is not in his right state of mind, and you let him out. Who did you do that for? Who benefited in that whole situation? And the hospital was never held accountable for that. And I got issues with them anyway because they killed my grandfather and my grandmother. Okay, the hospital did that. So I got issues with them. I know about their maltreatment. I know about their experimentation on patients and stuff like that because they're not even an actual hospital. They're a teaching institution. So regular types of stuff like we would consider it to be a hospital, even though it looks like a hospital, it has an emergency like a hospital. For all intentions, it's a hospital. It's not. It's a medical teaching facility, institution, they call it. Bogus skullduggery, but we're not going to dig into that. I'm just showing you the lineup of the malfeasance. The family in, I believe it was Chicago, said they didn't want him, couldn't handle him. He came here to Rochester. They said that they can't handle him. They called the police, and the police got into an engagement with him because he was all up off of the drugs. And then he ended up dying in the hospital that had released him earlier that should have been holding him from the first place. And they blamed that on the police. Now, the situation with Jordan Neely, okay, being restrained by Daniel Penny, okay, he restrained him to try to protect everybody else. Unfortunately, the guy passed away. But he acted in a raw riot, talking about and threatening people on the train, when we know that people that say crazy stuff on the train do crazy stuff on the train. So Daniel Penny and everybody else on the train had no good reason not to be terrified, not to be afraid of this. The man decided to stand up and do his best to protect and restrain this guy from stop him from attacking anybody. God bless that man. Now, some people say that Daniel Penny is a hero. Other people say that he's a terror. But let me put this into perspective, and because we're going to come back to this in a moment. Let me put this into perspective. Here in Rochester, we've had a crazy amount of car thefts. Crazy amount of car thefts. Absolutely insane because of the terrible laws in the system right now that have been implemented by the Democrats in our state assembly and in the state Senate, and they refuse to fix them in relation to bail reform and raise the age laws. We've gone into that before on the show. I'm not going to go into that today. But I bring that up because a couple months ago, a man tracked down his stolen car, okay, and shot the guy that had stole the car. It's his wife's car. Shot the guy that stole his wife's car. That man is in jail right now. Free that man. Free that man. He needs a pardon from the high priestess Kathy Oak. She needs to pardon that man. Let that man out of jail. Okay? Yeah, he shot that crook. Okay? You don't go stealing other people's property and expect not to get it. What's wrong with this country right now? What's wrong with this state that I'm living in right now? Again, New York State is jacked to jack up. Okay? It's really messed up, mad. That man was protecting his own property. Good for that other person. No offense. Good for it. Don't be stealing other people's stuff. You understand what I'm saying? We can't be letting these people get away with what they get away with. So some people will call that man that shot the guy that stole his wife's car a vigilante. Maybe we need more vigilantes. I wish that the police could just do their job. But because of the restrictions on the laws that have been put into place, by the Democrats in our state. This is not me being one-sided or anything. It's actually all the Democrats voted for these laws. They refuse, they can amend these laws, and they refuse to. The state assembly is a supermajority, okay, of Democrats. The state Senate is a majority of Democrats. It was just a supermajority, but after this next session, it'll be just a regular majority. But it doesn't matter. They also have the governorship, which is the high priestess Kathy Hochul right now. And they're just letting these criminals and insane people run a raw riot and know that they won't get disciplined or have any accountability in any type of a way. So then we wonder why we see more people and doing things like this and saying, I'm fed up, I got enough. Somebody's got to do something because ain't nobody else going to do nothing. So I encourage you, if you're following us right now, hit like, hit share, hit subscribe, drop some thumbs up, drop some hearts, drop some comments. Let me know you're watching. Okay, and definitely make sure that you're following my page or subscribe. I want to see some thumbs up and some shares. That helps us. And if you're watching us online, you can also see the donation button. You get the donation links in the ticker. That will show you how you can donate. You can donate by a Cash App. It's $MW Real, the number 1, the digit 1. So you can donate givesendgo.com/Marcus C. Williams. You can donate via Venmo or PayPal. That's at Marcus C. Williams on either of those platforms. You can donate however you can so we can get more, not only more airtime to get more of the message out, but so we can get better equipment. Right now, we need better cameras. We need more airtime. We need more audio equipment. As you can see, I'm just doing it with the microphone that I got that's on the camera, that's on my phone. So we need some stuff. Help us out so we can continue to have these serious conversations. And we will recognize you for all the donations that you give if you want to be recognized. If not, that's also okay. So as we go into having this conversation about what happened with these people that are now becoming vigilantes, it's not out of choice that they're becoming vigilantes. It's because we have a failed system and a failed structure that has been implemented in the state of New York. Maybe you're listening to us from Florida. Maybe you're listening to us from South Dakota, where there is still law and order. Maybe you're listening to us from Texas, where you can stand your ground. But in New York State, we don't have any of that. We are under a repressive, tyrannical regime run by the high priestess Kathy Hochul, run out of New York City by Adrian Stewart Cousins and what's the other one? The other lady. I don't even remember. Carl Hesty and the rest of them down there in New York City. Okay, it's a problem. They don't care about the everyday working people just struggling to survive, trying to keep the little bit that they got. And they got all these criminals trying to steal from people and hurt people that are just trying to mind their own business and go about their day. And they know that they can because they won't get punished. Where is the accountability? All these people run for office screaming about accountability, accountability. Then they get into office. There ain't no accountability for them. There ain't no accountability for the criminals. And there's no accountability for any of the stuff that the government is doing to oppress and steal from the people that are the citizens that they're supposed to represent. Not anything to do with the oppression of the taxes, not anything to do with the oppressive regime in education that's going on right now, not anything to do with the oppressive regulations and fees that they have coming down from the state that are crushing not only businesses, but farms and manufacturing and transportation. And we could get into that at another point, but it's very, very serious. Bad people are getting away with a lot of bad things because of the way our state is being run, and it's being run solely by Democrats. So they might try to paint the Republicans as bad, but here locally, it's not the Republicans that are the problem. The Democrats run everything. So as we talk about this vigilante justice and stuff like that, we have to talk about the fact that people are beyond fed up. They're beyond fed up with seeing no justice is getting done for regular everyday citizens just trying to live their life and go on about themselves. They see that no matter how many times criminals break into a store, they don't go to jail. They might get an appearance ticket and they're always back out. They see that you can steal people's vehicles and nothing will happen to you. They see that you can run from the police and nothing will happen to you. They see that you can even do stuff to the police themselves, spit on them, throw stuff at them and stuff like that. God bless all of our officers right now that are good and decent, because more power to you. I don't know how you do your job and say so strong. Thank you all for your service so much. You guys desperately need it. I appreciate you all. I support you all. And it's a terrible tragedy what's been forced upon you by these crazies, these small group of crazies that are very vocal, but they're destroying the quality of life for everybody and hindering you guys from doing your job. So it's no wonder that vigilantes are stepping up. We don't have a Batman here. Nobody's helping out the little people here because we're oppressed by our government in New York State. Don't get me started talking about my local oppressive regime right here in the city of Rochester, how they put out all types of stuff that's completely fascist and totalitarian. And people, where are all these anti-fascists, right? Where are they to stand up? Where are the constitutionalists? Where are they to stand up? Nobody's saying boo. And I got a lot to say about it. But back to the Daniel Penny thing. So Daniel Penny was acquitted. First, they charged him with involuntary manslaughter and criminal neglect, something like that. Criminal homicide neglect or something like that is the charge. They dropped the manslaughter charge, and then he was acquitted on the involuntary homicide or whatever the other charge is. So that man is a free man today. God bless him. Okay, God bless him, because he should have never been put in a situation where he had to engage with one of those people. Now I tell you one thing once, I tell you two things twice. Okay, when I was a few years ago, when I was just out of high school, I was working with the Boys and Girls Club, and I was doing a summer program with the developmentally disabled individuals, developmentally disabled youth. Now, let me tell you, that's a special set of group of people to work with. Now, I know in my life, I'd never do it again. Okay, it's not for me. That's for somebody else to do. I'm not built that way. Especially because they would do stuff, and they're much more intelligent than you think that they are. Just because they're developmentally disabled, allegedly. They know what they're doing. Okay, and they'll act up or do something to try to get you in trouble or whatever the case is. And then they look at you with that smirk and they cut their eye and they smirk because they know what they did. It's like if you have a little sister or a little brother and they do something to act up and then you get in trouble for it. It's kind of like that. But again, they need a lot of extra supervision and stuff like that. It's a lot to deal with that type of situation. I have friends who work in Monroe Community Hospital, and I used to be out there a lot with some family that worked there when I was little. So I've seen a lot of stuff growing up, okay, between the drug and alcohol addiction and a number of other things that I've been able to see firsthand and experience, including the mental issues. Like dealing with developmental disabilities is not for me. But seeing these people that are completely almost what you would say detached from reality or almost psychotic and violent tendencies and stuff like that, that's serious. Then you couple the drug addiction and stuff in with it, which a lot of these people also have out here. That's a very, very, very big issue. So if you like what we're talking about right now, make sure you hit the like and share, drop some comments down there, and I'll try to share out some of the stuff later with your comments and stuff. Every like and share helps get the message out to more people, and it kicks the algorithm to show it to more people. Make sure you drop some comments. That helps the most. Now, as we continue this conversation about Daniel Penny, he was acquitted. And then the Black Lives Matter people today are like, let me see if I can play one of the videos of these people talking so you can try to hear it. Let me see. Let's see here. Let me see. I don't know. Vigilantes, just like everybody else has vigilantes. We need some black vigilantes. Right. People want to jump up and choke us and kill us for being loud.
How about we do the same when they attempt to oppress us? I'm tired. I know you must be like, oh, go and march, go and march. No. This weekend, I want you to hold a community event everywhere from the Bronx to Houston to Seattle to Florida. Black people hold community events and talk about what you need. I want to give a shout out to Daniel Penny.
So those people are so disgusting it makes you want to spit. It's really disgusting. Now, this is the first time I've heard them ask for something that even remotely sounds reasonable to be done, but the first part of what he said is the problem, right? What do you mean? You should have vigilantes when they oppress you. What does that even mean? What do you qualify as oppression? Okay? I talk about the oppression of the tyrannical government system that we live under because we have people that are supposed to represent us, but they do not. I talk about the needs of our community here locally and on the national level very regularly. If you tune into this show or any of my other shows, you know that. So what exactly is this guy talking about? But he's not talking about actually going out and engaging with people civilly. He's calling for violence. You call it what you want, racial violence, political violence, whatever the case is. Who's oppressing who in the conversation that he's talking about? Is it white people that are oppressing black people? Because let me put this out there. In the Bronx, in Brooklyn, in where I live in the city of Rochester, we're highly represented, allegedly. I use represented lightly, I'm using air quotes. But we're represented largely by a lot of black people, okay? And they don't do a flying monkey's uncle for us. What are they doing? We're making the life for other black people bad and all of the working class citizens bad, making it more difficult. And you guys know I don't have to go into it because I talk about it all the time. But this is a very serious thing. And we saw, like I just talked about, the riots that happened after Daniel Proof, where they burned all the businesses in my neighborhood. They tried to break into my business also, busted out the windows in my business and caused all type of havoc at my business also. I'm black as black can be, y'all. I'm Black American since before this country been a nation. You understand what I'm saying? I'm in the words of most Def, black on both sides. You understand what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing? They burnt down the Family Dollar. Okay, ransacked the shoe store in my community, busted out all the windows in the Rite Aid and the Walgreens and the drugstores and stole everything. Did they go do that in the white neighborhoods? No. But they tore up our stuff in our neighborhoods, making it worse for every day again. The violation of the people that are the working class every day that are trying to do what they can for their families. Okay? What they've changed a lot is they try to make this conversation about race when a lot of it is about class. And then they said, I heard one of them say, oh, well, they killed him because he was poor. No, they killed him because he was erratic and he was acting a raving fool and it was a mistake. You understand what I'm saying? In the Bible, you know, one of the 10 commandments, they say, oh, it's thou shalt not kill. Absolutely not. It says thou shalt not murder. The words are not the same. It's thou shalt not murder. Anybody that says that thou shalt not kill, you correct them. You make sure that that they know that ain't what it said. This is thou shalt not murder. Did the man die? Yeah, he died. Did he get murdered on purpose? Absolutely not. Murder is something that's intentionally done and with malice in the heart. That wasn't done intentionally, nor was it malice. So we need to make sure that we're making the clear distinction between those type of events. This was extremely unfortunate. I'm sad that it had to happen. It's disappointing when anybody loses their life in such a situation, especially when it's unintentional. But this is the type of stuff that happens when we live in a lawless society, when they shut down all of the resources to care for people like this. Why are we not reopening the mental institutions? Bill Barr, what's the comedian's name? Maybe it is Bill Barr. No, Bill Barr is the guy who used to be Department of Justice. It's Bill Burr, right? I think that's the comedian. He did a joke about it, how the homeless people now are not like the homeless when they were young, and how the homeless people now are all crazy, yelling at trees and stuff like that. That's because they closed all the mental institutions and let all these people out. There's nobody to take care of them. Their family can't take care of them. There's no systemization to take care of them. None of that. And then we wonder why these type of things happen. It's sad. But I appreciate you guys as we continue here. I got to do a plug real quick. You're listening to us on WRFZ 106.3 Rochester Free Radio. You're tuned into The Divide with Marcus C. Williams, and we're out here getting out the message. So if you are listening to us on the radio, make sure you tell your friends, your family, heck, tell your enemies. Mondays from 2:30 to 4 p.m. Tune into The Divide on WRFZ 106.3 FM, Rochester Free Radio. And if you guys are listening to us online or watching us online, make sure that you hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, and drop some hearts, drop some comments. Those comments are very important, and definitely share. If you guys want to donate, there is a donation. Links are on the ticker. Okay, it'll show you where you can donate. You can donate on Cash App. That's $MW Real, the number 1. Okay, that's MW Real, the digit 1. Or you can do it on givesendgo.com/Marcus C. Williams, or you can do it on Venmo or PayPal, and it's at Marcus C. Williams that you can donate there. Help us do what we need to do to get more airtime, to get better equipment, so that we can get the message out to more people and do more shows, so that we can have the serious conversations that are needed. Now, I want to tie up this Daniel Penny thing with a little bow on it right now. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens if people decide to act the raw riot, or if it goes over. Because it's amazing that this man was acquitted. I thought for sure they were going to try to hang him. So it's amazing that people are starting to say, listen, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of people being a victim on the train. We saw like the different NBC, what was it, NBC or ABC? One of their hosts, like on the far left channels, was assaulted on the train coming into work. So this is a common thing. Like she talked about it on the air. You got the lady from the Young Turks, Anna Keshpatibert or something. I don't know, something Eastern European. Okay, I don't like her very much. Okay, but she's out in San Francisco over there, or maybe it's San Diego. I'm pretty sure it's San Francisco, and she was violated by a homeless man who was rubbing all up on her with erection and stuff like that, and all types of stuff. Because this is a society that has been made by the Democrats that are empowering lawlessness and all type of mental instability in our communities by talking about, oh, we're going to provide these services or we'll provide these funds. But it never gets to the community. The situations that are supposed to be addressed, they never get addressed. Look at California. How many billions of dollars were they on? Like $10 billion in the last 5 or 10 years that they spent on homelessness, and homelessness has grown exponentially. Okay, it might be more than that. Same thing in New York State. They spend all this money, and what's being done? The homeless crisis is worse. They talk all this stuff about mental health all the time. Mental health crisis is worse. They shut down the schools, made the mental health crisis balloon. And there is no real mental health crisis if we're going to be real legit about it. What it actually is most people out here are lonely, y'all. People need a friend. They've broken up the family unit. Okay, so many families are one parent. Most people don't even know their cousins, if they have cousins, because they've empowered people to have so many abortions to get rid of so many babies. And a lot of people don't have other family members in their age range, or even that are first or second cousin. So there's not that family bond anymore. And it was all done intentionally by the government, by the way. But we have that as an issue. Then most people don't have friends anymore. If you look at the statistics for the friends, it's dropped from the 90s, where people would have like 10 close friends, to the early 2000s, where people would have like 5 close friends. And now you're lucky if somebody has 1 close friend. And you're ostracizing people more. You're dividing people more. Everybody's segmented into different LGBTQTRZ2, 3 tri-spirited type of nonsense. Then they're separating everybody by race and culture and background and all of this other stuff. And I say they because it's not really like us, right? Like it's being pushed largely by the elites in our government and in Western society. You know, the weird nations, the Western industrial educated um, rich democracies. All of those countries, and basically everybody in NATO, right? Minus a couple of individual countries. But the elites that really control the stuff behind the scenes, they're the ones that are pushing this. They're the reasons why everything in your life seems to be stifled, you know? And people feel like, oh, well, you can boil it down to this or you can boil it down to that. This is really being forced and thrust upon us. That's what's honestly happening. And if we're not able to have that legitimate conversation, we're not doing anything, any help, anywhere. And it bothers me so bad that Democrats talk about mental health all the time. But they're the ones who separate the family. They're the ones who tell you to delete your baby, okay, to kill your baby. They say that's good, that's great, okay. They say that all the time. Now they got out here to talk about, oh, kill your baby because what they say? If you're poor, you know, it stops people in poverty from being able to excel if they don't have access to abortions. What? Did you just tell poor people to kill their babies? What are you encouraging? That's worse than them encouraging somebody to commit suicide. You don't do that. You don't do that. The same way they got a suicide hotline, okay, to prevent people from having suicide, they need an abortion prevention hotline, okay? 9777 or whatever you want to call it, okay? They need an anti-abortion hotline, one that promotes you keeping your child and walking you through healthy options to go forward with a pregnancy. They don't understand that the impact that that has on many women, not just physically, because sometimes it destroys a lot of the stuff inside of them. We could have a longer conversation about that. I wasn't intending to talk on this. It just is where it went. But it destroys a lot of the inner workings of their body. It makes them less fertile. Sometimes it makes them infertile. And I was just watching a guy online the other day. He was talking about he's been married to his wife for 16 years, and now they're getting over the hill. And he said that his wife had an abortion before they were together, and it sterilized her. And the whole time that they've been together, he's wanted kids, and she never told him that that was what happened. But that was before they even got together. That is a rotten shame. But it happens more than you think. A lot of females don't even know that that's happened to them. We know for a fact that those IEDs, IUDs, anyway, y'all know the abbreviation I'm looking for, IUDs or UIDs, whatever the one I'm looking for. Y'all know what it is. Drop it in the comments. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Them little things that look like a T that they insert inside your vaginal canal behind your whatever it's called, I forget. But you know what I'm talking about. Those things. We know that those things had been chemicals were put on there to sterilize women, not just in Black society, but also in South Africa that was done. We know the same thing was done in Israel, where they sterilized tens of thousands of Ethiopian Jews. So when we talk about this stuff, like we're not having real conversations about the impact, even whether it's known or unknown, whether it's purposeful or unpurposeful. You see the TV commercials sometimes. If you guys remember a couple years ago, they're like, "Have you had vaginal mesh? You know, you might be entitled to compensation. Have you ever used the IUD? You may be entitled to compensation." Like all of these different things, and now we find out that a lot of the drugs that they're prescribing chronically for women are destroying their fertility. And then we wonder why the fertility rates in our country are down so much. And then we wonder what's going on with Social Security, why we don't have any money, because we ain't got no kids, aside from the government spending. I talked about that. When did I talk about that? Yesterday on my show, The Elephant in the Room. Go check that out wherever you're streaming this right now. If you're streaming it, check that out. The Elephant in the Room. My episode from yesterday, 12/8. Check that out. And if you're listening to us on the radio, you can go to my YouTube channel, the Marcus C. Williams channel, and you can see The Elephant in the Room right there. It's also on YouTube Music Podcasts. So this is something that we know is happening. That's being done. That is a problem. The birth rate is a very, very serious problem. The Democrats say that they care so much, but they want you to delete your children and your future lineage. Why is that? They say, oh, we care so much about the elderly. Now they're trying to put in, and they're going to try to pass it this year coming up, medically aided induced death. Now, if you've been listening to them talk, they want to use it on people that are poor and people that are a burden on the system because they don't have the quality of life that they deserve. This is the reasoning that they're saying out of their mouths. You guys got to watch out for what they're saying. This is a very, very serious thing. And it's a very terrible direction to be headed in. These people are out to, some of them are knowingly doing this. Some of them are willing pawns, and other people are unknowingly working for these elites to actually promote depopulation. That's what's going on. And I could talk about that longer at length. That wasn't my intention today. But we could talk about what's going on with the sterilizations in Africa by these NGOs that are funded by the United States, including the ones especially from Bill Gates. Can we talk about that? Speaking on Bill Gates, let's hop into the climate topic real quick and how Bill Gates is trying to block out the sun. Like that's some sort of James Bond villain, cartoon villain type of stuff. You want to block out the sun? Are you retarded? Like, what are we doing here? Like, this is a man who's supposed to be learned, comes from an extremely wealthy, well-connected family. That man is an elite to the utmost, okay? His blood, his lineage, all of that, okay? That man wasn't never poor, wasn't never broke, okay? Wasn't never struggled. Don't know what a struggle looked like, okay? Now, I used to like Bill Gates when I was coming up, you know, because we were all sold the fairy tale, right? Don't get to know about your heroes, I guess they say. You know, it stands true. He's a villain. He's not a hero. And I encourage you guys to watch out for Elon Musk, okay? He's been very clear on what his whole situation is, okay? Elon Musk cares about making sure that we're able to continue on society if there's a cataclysm. And to him, that means making sure that he can keep around his friends and his people and stuff like that. It's not about the everyday citizens. It's about what he can do to benefit himself. He's been very clear on where he stands on that. I don't know why everybody's jumping on his Jolly Roger, okay? It doesn't make no sense to me, okay? I like some of the stuff that he's doing, yes. Do I like his companies? Yes, all of them. Every single company, I like all of them, okay? Do I like a lot of the work he's doing? Yes. But that doesn't mean that I don't see him for exactly what he's told us that he wants. Like he's if you go watch the movie, what was it, Elysium, where they had the people on the earth, that the earth was like squalorly and like terribly jacked up, and then they had this other thing in outer space where all of the people were living nice and all palatial and stuff like that. That's what Elon wants. Y'all not paying attention. He tell you what he wants and what his goal is. Like, I don't understand why people don't listen to him. But he's one of the better elites, right? Because at least not only is he straightforward, at least he's not aggressively trying to eliminate us all. Like these other people are trying to aggressively eliminate us all. And that goes into the danger of the technocracy that we're pushing for in our country. It's on the Republican and on the Democrat side. They're putting all of these technical experts and smart pantses from all the Ivy League colleges and all the tech firms and the venture capitalists and all of these people all into running all of the departments in the government and all the media and everything like that, so that the everyday people are pushed out and they don't have any control over everything that's going on. And because they know better than you, they're the ones who are going to lord over you and tell you what to do. And at the end of the day, they don't give a flying monkey's uncle about you, the vast majority of them, period, end of story. Now, that wasn't on my my thing to talk about today, but that's where we. That's a great conversation to have. If you like the conversation that we're having, or even if you don't, make some comments, drop some hearts, drop some shares, and help get the message out there. And if you're watching us online, you can see the little ticker below. It shows you how you can donate. Okay, it shows you the Cash App, $MW Real, the number one. That's $MW Real, the digit one for Cash App. You can do Give Send Go, givesendgo.com/Marcus C. Williams, or you can do PayPal and Venmo. Both are at Marcus C. Williams. Drop a donation. Help us get more airtime. Help us get the message out. We're working on building up a website so that you can go to a one-stop place to get all of the shows and all of the episodes that we're doing and extra content as well. Please donate whatever you can. Right now, the most thing is that we need is we want to get more airtime and we want to get more equipment, better cameras. Because like you see me, I'm doing this off my cell phone, and my cell phone is like an older cell phone. I got a Note 9, y'all, and it's all busted up. Okay, I need a better camera than what's going on here. So I'm just making it so I can get the message out there. So if you can, please donate. We need some microphones, okay, so that we can, when we stream, we do streaming sounds better and stuff like that. And hey, and if you have a better phone, okay, like a Galaxy S22 Ultra or one of the new S24 Ultras, please reach out to me. Send me an email or send me a message online. Find me. I'm on Twitter, at X, Facebook, everywhere, and I'm very responsive. Instagram, all that. So if you have something you'd like to donate it, let us know. Reach out, shoot us a message. Okay, so as we continue talking about these very serious conversations here in your ear that you need to hear, I want to talk about this one thing as we continue to talk about the elites. There is this, and I got to read it because it's so insane. Like if I don't read it to you, I can't guarantee you I'm going to get it right. So here it is. Let's see where it's. Oh man, this is just so crazy. So the other day was what they call it? Pansexual and pan-romantic Pride Day or whatever it's called, and HHS put that out there. How is that a thing? Who said that was a thing? Who sent that memo out? That's not a thing. And what even is pan-romantic? That's ridiculous. Okay, that's ridiculous. Stop trying to put nonsense in people's heads. Okay, they're just trying to push this transhumanism agenda so that boys don't think that they have to be boys and girls don't think that they have to be girls. They're trying to push this furry thing so that they can encourage bestiality and all types of other nonsense. And at the end of the day, it has to do with complete perversion, satanicness, and just depravity. Let me read this to you because this is crazy. This is a real thing, and it is mind-boggling. So these ladies, two women, are involved in this. They call it a cyber wedding to a brine shrimp. Right? This is crazy. And apparently, they are in love with this ridiculous. I don't know, bro. Like it's crazy, right? Like how can you be in love with brine shrimp? First of all, brine shrimp are really tiny. Secondly, brine shrimp, are you serious? So they made a fake baby, like a 3D print baby with like appendages, like it's a brine shrimp and part human. And they say that they are in a interspecies queer family. Okay. And they have a hybrid baby shrimp. They need to be locked up, y'all, in a mental institution. What? Is your brain completely broken? But this is what I've been saying and warning for years is actually going on, and they're pushing these interspecies relationships because what they're doing is they're clearing the way for engagements with demons. Okay, they're trying to push it back to the Old Testament. Okay, whether you believe it or not, I don't care if you believe it or not. It's a fact. It's true, and you can look at it through other religions. You can look at it through ancient documents and stuff like that. You can call them aliens. You can call them demons. You can call them whatever. They mated with female women. Okay, they bore babies that were abominations in the eyes of the Lord, our Father in heaven, and that's what caused the flood. Okay, that's what caused the flood. This is what they're promoting right now. Interspecies relationships. Get the flying monkey's uncles out of here. Are you serious? You can't be serious. But they are serious. And many people are just buying into it. And it's very concerning and it's very, very frustrating. But more than that, it's alarming how easily people are just going for this stuff. There was a guy in, I believe it was either, what was it? Saint, the name of the school. I don't remember, but it's neither here nor there. It was in Pennsylvania. This guy was banging his dog. He's a professor he was caught banging the dog in the woods. And he said, oh, it's okay. I just do this to blow off steam. These are the people teaching your kids. That was what his quote was in the article. Okay, I just do it to blow off steam. It's normal. That's not normal. It's not okay. Then you got these other people that are calling themselves furries. Now, let me go back to what a furry used to be. A furry used to be these people that used to dress up in mascot costumes, and they had a kink for that, and they would bone in the mascot costumes. That was what a furry was. But it's gone far and away from that now. There are people that actually identify as animals, and they're calling themselves furries, which is not what a furry is, but this is the transmutation of, what do you call it, etymology of language. And it's a very serious and concerning thing. You got kids out here identifying as dogs and cats. I saw a video a while back at this school in Milwaukee where this girl was walking around this other girl on a leash, and she was barking and yapping at people. And the kids were ragging on her because she was acting like a dog. They're like, that's crazy. And they're trying to be like, don't insult us. Don't insult you. You down there on a leash acting like a dog in public. Something wrong with you. You need help. And what you need not be is to be encouraged to do any type of nonsense like that. Are you serious? I saw this one video online with this lady who said that she identified as a I can't remember what it was, a cat or a dog. It doesn't matter. Some sort of an animal. And she was like, just because I identify as an animal, it doesn't mean that you can hunt me. You know, I was like, I wasn't even thinking about that, but shouldn't it? Shouldn't it? Craziness, madness. How committed are you to that role? I believe cats and dogs are outside animals. Go sit out in the cold and eat dry dog food. Come on now, what are y'all really up to? Who's putting these ideas in the children's head that this is okay, that this is something that should be normalized? They're trying to tell you that if you speak up against this, that you're the problem, that you're wrong. You're not wrong, y'all. Don't let this stuff go. And don't let it be called that it's normal. And they'll try to tell you that it's not happening when it is. And that is the biggest crime that has been committed in our nation and continually perpetuated, where they tell you that exactly what is happening before your eyes is not happening whatsoever. Who's dumb, right? They must think that you are, or that you're so complacent that you'll just go along with it. And what I see more and more is people who are unwilling to stand up and who are unwilling to speak up because they are concerned about the possible ramifications of these people clamping down on them, talking about, oh, well, you're just discriminating, or you're being mean, or you're being nasty, and you're discriminating against the alphabet people. What do you mean, alphabet people? What do you mean? They're not all the same. You can't lump them together in some group. That's what they do to black people. They be like, oh, you BIPOC people. Don't BIPOC me. Black, indigenous people of color. Don't lump us all together. Okay? What color are Asians? Tell me what color Asians are. Go on. I'll wait. Let's see what you got to say. You understand what I'm saying? Okay? This is serious. But they try to lump us all together to categorize us and deplete our culture and deplete our heritage by lumping us all together. Black people ain't like what do you call them? Latinos, okay, or any other type. And Latinos aren't just Latinos, right? Because Mexicans ain't Puerto Ricans. You call them Mexican or Puerto Rican and you ready to fight. And don't call a Dominican nobody, because they're ready to fight you if you call them black. They're ready to fight you if you call them Puerto Rican. And you better not call them Haitian, even though they on the same daggone island. Come on now. Don't lump us together, and don't lump the alphabet people together. Okay? You try to lump the lesbians and the gay men together with people that don't believe that gender exists. Don't you understand that lesbians are lesbians because they're women that like other women? Don't you understand that gay men are gay men because they're gay men that like other gay men? They're attracted to the same sex. That is the concept of how it is. That's why it was same-sex marriage. Hello, is this thing working? Let me tap the microphone and see if we got any sense out here in the world. How are you going to lump them in with people that say that there are no genders, that genders don't exist, when the whole identity of lesbians and gay men is wrapped up in the fact that they like the same gender? Make it make sense to me. Then you got these people, these crazy people talking about, oh, I'm multi-spirited. No, you're not. That's demonic possession if you think that you got another spirit living in you. If you got another spirit inside you that ain't the Holy Spirit, that's demonic possession. Something wrong with you. Something is wrong with you. And what's more wrong is anybody that promotes this insanity. Okay? Especially the coupling of the rest of it together with the regular gay people. Okay? Now they got these, I was watching a thing the other day. This dude that's with this other dude that apparently is a trans, whatever you call it. I don't even know how you call it. Woman, man, whatever the case is. I don't know. It's a dude that got some boobs and trying to dress up like a woman. Okay? I don't know whether they still got their wedding tack or they got that cut off. Okay? I don't know. I'm not inquiring. But it was like, oh, men should be dating trans people. What? You retarded? Why? Why would a man date another man unless he's a homosexual? Oh, but there was a lady because okay, let me go back a step. In the Congress right now, they let some dude in that dresses like a woman talk about he a woman, okay? Now, they passed a rule in Congress that men couldn't use women's bathroom facilities, which is decent. If you guys remember a couple months ago, women were like, oh, and again, these are leftist liberal women, largely Democrat, almost all Democrat, some socialists and communists, same difference now. But they were like, oh, if it was between a man and a bear, I'd choose the bear. What's wrong with you? Your brain don't work straight? Your head not screwed on? You choose the bear over a man because you're scared of what a man might do to you, but you want to let men in women's bathrooms and in bathrooms and in sports facilities and in park bathrooms with little girls or with other women. But if it came down between a man and a bear, you choose the bear. Come on now, make it make sense. Make it make sense. You know, and it's very, very concerning to me. There is this video, and you got to go try to pull it up online. I don't remember what it was from. It was some interview. This dude that was dressing up like a woman was like, oh, yeah, I had top surgery and stuff like that. I lived in the hood. And when I was in the hood, now this looked like a straight dude, okay, with boobs, okay, like a whole man, okay. Like there's no doubt at all that that was a man, okay. Talking about, oh, when I was in the, I lived in the hood and I got my top done and it was crazy because men were trying to accost me and they were giving me they were trying to come on to me and I felt unsafe because they kept trying to come on to me and stuff like that. Da 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 da. First of all, anybody that gets plastic surgery is so that other people view them the way that they want to, largely as a sexual object or an object of beauty. So if that was happening, that is exactly what you wanted and you intended. Otherwise, you wouldn't have done it to begin with. And people will argue and they'll say, oh, well, that was to make them feel better personally or whatever. Yes, it was to make them feel better by how the rest of the outside world views them. Okay? Because that's why they demand so much that we identify them as what they identify as. And I'm not doing it. I'm not playing into your psychosis. You're not going to get me to say that a man is a woman or a woman is a man. I'm not playing them games. Okay? I don't care what you do to yourself. You can cut your arm off and stick a telephone pole in there. I don't care. That's up to your own business when you're over 18. That's on you. You do what you want to, boo. Okay? You want to cut your leg off and put it where your arm is? Okay? Cut your nose off. Okay? Split your eyeballs in half. Whatever you up to, that's your own thing. You look crazy like a crazy fool, that's on you. If you look like something that you're not, again, don't care. But don't try to be something that you're not and tell me that I got to go along with what you're going to be, that you got to be, that you ain't. Come on now. And I bring up this one dude that said that because he was like, oh, and when I did that, they looked at me like fresh meat. And you had to see the disgust from these black men in the room when this person said that. Of course, it was a white liberalish type of person. That was a dude. Crazy. Ain't nobody looking at no daggone dude that's got boobs like they fresh meat. Like, and if you thought that that was going to be a problem, why would you do that? And if that's your thought and conception of what men are, why would you do that? Like, you're a whole man. You know what men are like. So if that was what you thought the men were like, why would you do that to begin with? Because you would understand that that is what you would happen. What would happen? It didn't happen. It was clearly a lie. That's why everybody's face was turned up in there. Like, this person crazy. Yeah, it was crazy. Question is, why are they trying to convince you that their craziness is normal? Okay, like that is completely beyond any type of sanity at all. That you can't do that. That's not a thing. Nobody, no, what? Man, please listen. Fresh meat, my black behind. Ain't nobody in the hood got no time for that nonsense. Ain't nobody looking at you like that, looking like a whole man. Stop it. Stop it. Where are you hanging out, weirdo? Not because they're, well, yeah, because they are doing all that extra stuff, but because they're saying what they're saying. What street corners you hang out? What clubs you hang out? Stop playing. And if you was, why you put yourself out there like that? I don't go out to clubs and stuff like that right now because people be shooting and stabbing up people. I know what the clubs is like. They just shot and stabbed somebody last night at Water Street. Over here, if you're in the Rochester area, they just shot and stabbed somebody. And they were shooting, so anybody else could have got shot or stabbed too. Can't go out and go to places. I don't even go out like that. It's very rare, unless I'm going out to like a gala or a reception of a wedding or something like that. I'm not going out. I'm not going out. I don't even like to go to the movies. Too many people is a problem. You understand what I'm saying? It's very likely too many people that are, it's no. That's what we're not doing. That's what we're not doing. So, you know, it's crazy. I'm not able to do it. So talking about this psychosis and back to these women that have this interspecies marriage, it's very, very problematic that the church isn't out there speaking up and standing up against this insanity publicly, because it's very, very, very serious. And it's continuing to grow as a much larger and larger problem because they're pushing it on the children. Do you know that the number, and again, this wasn't what I intended to talk about, but this is where we're going. Do you know that the number of children that identify as alphabet something has ballooned? Ballooned, completely ballooned. Now, as you guys know, that homosexuals and alphabet people, they're not able to reproduce. Why? Because again, homosexuals like the same gender, so you can't have kids. So you can't have kids, you can't pass on those genetics. So if you believe that people are born gay, then you can't pass on those genetics because it's born type of situation. Now, if you believe that other people can cultivate people into promoting those type of alphabet stuff and nonsense in the schools and the educations and the music and the movies and the TV and in the media and stuff like that, and now by the government even, then yeah, that explains why there are so many people that identify as alphabet or whatever the case is. And again, it's the whole alphabet, right? It runs a whole gamut of nonsense. It's not just a homosexuality now. It's all types of stuff. Bestiality, boy love, girl love, pedophilia, okay, pangender, trigender, demigender, this gender, that gender, non-gender conforming, non-gender binary identity. How the heck do I know? And then they be like, oh, well, you should be respectful and you should know what they are and how to address them with the pronouns that they want. Absolutely not. How I'm supposed to know how to address you? You talk about you non-binary gender fluid. You could be a boy today and a girl tomorrow. You told me that you was a cat yesterday, talking about your pronouns are meow, and now today you're telling me that your pronouns are ghost and ghost self. How I'm supposed to go on with that? Even if I wanted to support that, that is nonsense, and that's not what we're doing. It's ridiculous. It's being pushed in the school system. It's being pushed in the media. And by more than anybody, it's being pushed by the government elite that wants you to think that this is normal and this is okay because it is part of their depopulation agenda and their control agenda. Because when you try to stand up and you try to talk about it, people are too concerned that they might get deplatformed, that they might get canceled, that they might get shunned by their peers, by their friends, by their loved ones, and they won't even say a lick, a spit about it because they're concerned about how it'll affect them. As a Christian man, there's no way I can let that stuff go, seeing the evil for what it is and not say anything. And if you're not Christian, I encourage you to read the Bible, learn the teachings of Jesus in the gospel, in the New Testament, okay? And follow the teachings of Christ Jesus so that he can lead you to the teachings and closer to be with our Father in heaven and in alignment with him. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. Our country was founded on Christian values and Christian morals. But we've gotten so far away from that. And people say, oh, well, we're the separation of church and state and all of this nonsense. That's not a thing. We've talked about it on other shows before. I'm not going to jump in it today. Okay? But that's not a thing. We were founded on Christian values. We got our founding fathers saying specifically that our form of government is not for people that are godless, that it won't work. And here we are, pulling God out of schools, pulling God out of everything. Now, luckily, we have a chance for revival in this nation. We have a chance for redemption in this nation. And we have a chance for renewal in this nation. Okay? Because thankfully, we're seeing in different school districts across the country, now they're starting to put in teachings about from the Bible and stuff like that. If we can start to get the 10 Commandments back in the state houses and in the different judicial system and stuff like that, maybe we'll be able to start returning some sanity to our country and actually fix our country, because we've departed so far from the Lord our Father in heaven and his teachings and his will that we are in a downturn, that we are in a very turbulent time, because these evil satanic people, many of them pedophiles that are at the top of everything, that are on the top of the pyramid, that are the elitists, okay, who are running the government, in the government, or in these corporatist positions that are behind the scene with all the money, and these billionaires' families too, that are really running all of this nonsense. That's why they're trying to destabilize all of these other governments in all these other countries. And that's why what's going on in Syria is what's going on in Syria. I'm going to drink a little bit of my drink because it's all melted up now and I didn't drink. Give me a second. I'm going to take a sip. But if you like what we're going over right now and what we're talking about, and the fact that we stand firm on principles, values, and virtues, and the fundamental foundations of our country and nation, please hit the like button, hit the share button, hit subscribe, and definitely drop some comments down there so we can get better in the algorithm, get this message out to more people. And on the bottom, if you're watching us online, you can see the ticker and you guys can donate so that we can get more airtime, so that we can do more shows, so we can get better equipment, so that we can get this message and the other important conversations that are not generally being had out there to more people, because it's important. And we want to encourage people to get more involved locally, because that's where you can have the biggest impact. You know, tomorrow in different places, they've got some different votes in different townships and stuff like that. So there's stuff like that going on, for different things. You know, what do they got? Like, what are the boards called? The planning boards and the fire districts and other stuff like that. Those are important meetings for people to be at. Tomorrow in the county that I'm in, we have county meetings tomorrow. I'm going to go speak at the county ledge tomorrow, because it's important that we get involved and talk about the important issues that affect us on the different levels of government. Thursday, we got city council here. I'm going to talk at city council, okay? Because it's important. It's important for us to get involved. Even if you go to these meetings and you don't talk or whatever, listen, okay? Listen to what's going on, or even school board. Maybe you're passionate in school board. Go listen and start to find out what's really going on. Because when you find out what's going on and what's really being done, where money is going, what's being taught, and how stuff is being squandered, you start to see really what's so wrong with our country. And if you see what's going on, then you can change what's going on, because you can let more people know. You can get active yourself. You can join one of your local committees. You might be able to run for office yourself if you have the desire to, or see the necessity to. You might be able to help other people that are running for office. And if we want to see a difference in our communities, in our nation, in our states, it's going to be up to us to stand up and to speak up. Because if we don't, nobody's going to do it for us. Nobody's coming in on a white horse to save us, okay? And nobody's coming in out of a cloud to save us. You understand what I'm saying? Check this out. Hey, Siri, in the Bible, who was riding on the white horse? So the rider on the white horse, is it Christ or the Antichrist, they said. So these are the type of questions that you really have to wonder on who's coming in. But, you know, usually when we say somebody's riding on a white horse, they are like the savior or whatever. And I'm promising you right now, nobody's coming to save us. It's up to us. In the Bible, it talks about us having to stand and occupy and stand against evil. Like the whole Bible is about standing against evil. Okay. If you're a Jew, you look at the Torah, the whole Torah is about standing against evil. It's also, the Torah is very interesting, which is the Old Testament. The Torah is very interesting. It's a whole story about how the Jews can't get right and they keep going away from God and they need to go back to God. And every time they go away from God and they don't uphold the values and the virtues of what the Lord is teaching them, that they are having a disaster happen to them, or go into slavery, or having an oppressive king, or are killed up by a whole bunch of people, or are sent into bondage, all types of stuff. That's what's in the Old Testament, because they turned away from God. But that's like our nation right now, turned away from God. And now we're suffering the ramifications of it because we got all this evil insanity all over the place going on. And if we want to fix what's going on, we have to stand up and we have to speak up. And when we see evil, we must say something. If you don't say something when you see evil and you see wrong, you are complicit. That means it's your fault too, because you're being complacent. That means that you're not doing anything about it. And that's what we see largely in our country right now. You know, we see people whine and complain on their couches or to their friends or stuff like that. Well, what are you going to get up and do to make a difference? You know, and even I put it like this, even many people that could don't even donate to good candidates that are running. You can't donate a couple dollars to good candidates that are running. You can't donate, volunteer some time, make some phone calls, knock a couple of doors. You so concerned about everything that's going on and you can't do anything at all? You don't even want to engage with your local elected officials to address the issues that, well, what are you doing? Don't be a useless sack of turds. Okay? Get up, get off your bum and do something. And if you can't do that, or if you would prefer, donate money. But you got to do something. You can't just sit on your couch and complain, or complain to your friends, or see what's going on in the world and just be like, oh, I'm not able to do nothing, so I'm not going to do nothing. Let me tell you something about people that don't do nothing. Here in our elections in our county, the vast majority, I think it's like something like 60 to 70% of Christians don't vote. It's almost 70 to 80% of gun owners that don't vote. Okay, it's almost, what are we at in the last race we just had? It's something like 50 to 60% of Republicans don't vote. If any of those individual groups would vote, we wouldn't have the people in the offices right now that are hammering down on us with all of these atrocious totalitarian tactics and repressive tactics, regulations, and overzealousness on us right now. If they get their behinds out and vote, or even man, can you imagine if you got 1,000 people to help one candidate locally? Let me tell you, my county is 750,000 people live in my county. About 500, some of them is 500,000, some of them is registered to vote. Okay, 500,000. I got 210,000 roughly, maybe just 200,000, depending on how you count, right? In Rochester, in the city that I live. If 1,000 people volunteered for one campaign for one person, they'd win. They'd win. They win. Everybody cares so much that they don't do anything, that they can't donate any time, and they don't want to donate any money. Everybody's so up their own self that they feel like, oh, well, nothing's going to change. Oh, well, nothing's going to get better. Oh, you sorry, sore sap. Pull your head out of your behind. Stop being so negative. That's how the enemy continues to win. The devil wants you in despair because that's his playground. Okay? The evil people, the authoritarians in this world, they want you in despair because that's how they remain in power. If you want to see a difference, see a change, you need to be the change. Come on now. Come on now. Hold on tight. I got to check this camera, make sure this camera is up and running and working right real quick. But if you guys are listening to us on the radio, you're listening to The Divide with Marcus C. Williams. If you're watching us online, make sure that you hit like, share, follow, subscribe, drop some comments, even if it's just some emojis, some faces, or some thumbs up, or whatever the case is in the comments, or drop some words, some highs, some I appreciate what you're talking about. I love you so much, all of that good stuff. Okay, and drop a donation. You see the donation ticker down there. Okay, drop a donation. You can do Cash App. That's $MW Real, the number 1. That's a digit 1. Or you can do it on givesendgo.com/Marcus C. Williams. Or you can do it on Venmo or PayPal. That's at Marcus C. Williams. All right, you guys, let me check this camera. And I'm going to keep talking, so I hope you can hear me. So as we go through what's going on in our nation and in our country, if we don't get active, nothing is going to change whatsoever, not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. So in order to be the difference and be the change that we want to see, we have to be that difference and be that change. And in some cases, that might be you having to run for office because there's nobody else there that's willing to, because you see what's wrong and there are others that won't speak up. It's taken the enemy in this nation, the socialists, the communists, over 100 years to overtake our nations. This is not a one-day battle. It's not going to turn over all automatically. But if we work towards this effort, if we work towards galvanizing other people, we can make a real difference. Whether you live in a state like I do in New York State, which we saw a lot of, I think we went only a difference of 11 points or something like that in New York State, or we gained 11 points, something like that, towards voting for Trump, okay, in the general election. And I know some of you guys don't like Trump or whatever the case is, but the point is that it is winnable, that we can turn this state red, that we can return it to real, regular, common sense, traditional, foundational principles that actually empower our students with quality education, that make our streets safe and lock up criminals and have accountability, that shrink the government regulations and the government taxes on the people. We can do that, but we gotta start getting active. It's up to us, okay? And if you guys want to donate to my political campaign, you guys can do that too. It's Marcus, the number 4, Rochester.com. That's Marcus, the number 4, Rochester.com. You can donate right there on that page, okay, for my campaign itself. But what's going on is so disgusting. It really makes you want to spit, man. I tell you what. And this is a problem because it's only up to us. It's only up to us. We see what's wrong. And that's why this show is so important. And that's why we're working on trying to get some more airtime. So if you can, please donate on any of the things that you see on our ticker up there, because we got to get this message out. Now, I want to talk about our government and it being oppressive and them doing stuff that they ain't got no business doing in other countries with our money. Okay? I don't know if you guys saw the Trump interview the other day with NBC on Meet the Press, but he made mention that we are subsidizing like Canada and Mexico for like $300 billion a piece a year. $300 billion, you know how much money we could use that for, what money we could use that for in our country? Okay, even if it was just to knock down the debt. But we're over here now in Syria, okay, the Syrian regime has fallen, okay, because our government is funding ISIS and Al-Qaeda over there. The United States government created ISIS. We saw it on TV, on CNN. They were funding them, and then they turned into ISIS. That's what happens. Okay, we saw that happen, and now we're funding them again. Now they're calling themselves, what is it, HTS or HT? Yeah, HTS, I believe it is. But it's not just them. It's the Free Syrian Army and these other people and these all crazy people. All of them are part of Al Qaeda and part of the Islamic State. HTS is listed right now as a terrorist organization, and the U.S. is funding them right now. And Biden got the daggone nerve to get on the television and say that we're going to give them money for whatever they need to repair and rebuild Syria. I don't want to rebuild Syria. I'm going to fly monkey's uncle about Syria. I need to rebuild all the empty lots in my city. I need to rebuild New York State. I need to rebuild America. I need to restore Middle America. I need to restore the rivers and the canals so that we can transport goods on them. I need to restore the rail system in our country so we can transport goods on that. I need to restore all of the highways and the infrastructure in our country and the dams and the bridges. And we got to do something about these homeless people, not to mention we got to do something about shoring up Social Security because y'all done stole all the money from Social Security, so we ain't even got enough money for that. Talking about you about to get them some, man, if you don't sit down somewhere with that. And that's how I feel about all U.S. foreign aid. Unless we're taking territory in those countries, we ain't got no business, and I said this before and I say it again, we ain't got no business giving them any money. Not a daggone dime. Okay, I barely want to give anybody loans out in the country that are not part of this country. You understand what I'm saying? We out here giving low and no interest loans to the country. We out here giving low and no interest loans to Ukraine. How Ukraine gonna pay that money back and they getting all their men's killed up? Who's gonna work there? Who are you going to put in Ukraine to work to develop the infrastructure and the rest of the nation and the territory to actually pay us back that money? Do you know that we are just getting paid back? I want to say 2010, maybe 2015, we just finally finished getting paid back from the Lend-Lease program from World War II. Okay, you're talking almost 100 years later. We ain't never going to see that money. Not the value of the money. And you out there charging zero interest. You're basically giving away free money. Shoot, if you're going to be giving away free money, you better be giving away free money to the American citizens. You playing in our face, spitting in our eye with our own tax money. Okay? Shoot. Then they're going to, we're going to rebuild Ukraine. No, we're not. Not with our money. And no offense. I know a lot of Ukrainians, and if they want to send their money over to Ukraine to rebuild their country, fantastic. I support that. I know a lot of people with dual citizenship with Israel, if they want to send money back to their country to help build up stuff, fantastic. But not the American taxpayers' dollars. Don't none of them need none of our money. That goes for Taiwan too. Okay, we can sell it. If they want something, we can sell it to them. Okay, or we can take their territory and incorporate it into the United States of America. Ukraine want our money? Fine. Ukraine is now part of the United States of America. Perfectly fine with me. Okay, Israel wants our money? Oh, now anybody, people can say, oh, well, you can't say that. Well, if they want our money, right? They got money. Israel got money. They got more than enough money. And if not, they got enough people that are dual citizens all across the world that got tons of money. Let them pay for it. Why are we paying for it, taxpayer here? Israel's not part of America. They're our allies, sure. But and we should help defend them if they need our defense. But they're the ones out here poking everybody in the eye over there. If they feel that they so froggish and they want to leap on these people, let them leap. That's their prerogative. Okay, that's absolutely their prerogative. That's absolutely their right. And I'm very strong on if you win it in war, you get to keep what you kill. Okay, so if that's what they're doing, let them keep that. But they ain't got no business to do with us. Okay, if they got attacked by Iran, that's a whole different conversation. But they already done bombed the heck out of Iran anyway. So we're in a position where we've got our allies setting us up for a very serious incursion over there in the Middle East. We got Ukraine over there setting us up with some whole terrible issues. And we got all of this other stuff. Our troops are spread so thin across the world. We got China in the Asian Pacific. We got the Red Sea. We got troops in the Middle East still. We got troops in Ukraine. We don't talk about the troops in Ukraine. But we got stuff going on over there. We got all these troops in NATO and all of this. Man, if somebody was to attack the U.S. tomorrow, we ain't even got enough armaments and stuff. And people say, oh, well, the U.S. American Army is so strong, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, do you sit and watch the military hearings on Capitol Hill? No, I bet you don't. Because if you did, you know that their recruitment is lower than ever. Okay, you know that they have older equipment now more than ever. And people say, oh, well, they have some new equipment, whatever the case. All of the American equipment is 10, 15 to 20 years behind. Okay, what we actually got going on now. And a lot of that has to do with appropriations committees and the signing off on new equipment and designs and stuff like that. That is a very serious process that needs to be streamlined. We need to bring back more manufacturing of those goods right here on our soil. And we need to ramp up production of our military stuff. Okay. But we're not focusing on that. Instead, we're giving all our weapons to everybody else. You know why? And I'm going to tell you why. And you take it with a grain of salt if you want to, but I'm telling you what's going on. Don't believe me because I'm saying it. Believe me because I'm telling you. Okay. All we are doing is setting it up so NATO can involve themselves in other countries and bring the blue helmets into other countries so that they can be the new war power. That's what they want. That's what the elite's game wholly is. That's why they're trying to topple the Georgian government, not the state Georgia, but the country Georgia. That's why they're trying to topple the Romanian government. Okay, that's why they tried to kill the Slovakian prime minister. Okay, that's why they keep putting the elbow on Hungary. Like, are we for real right now? Because anybody that's like, oh no, we don't want war, we want peace, and we want to develop our economy and take care of our own people. NATO is like, absolutely not. You got to do what we say because you need to be aligned with all of the elites. And people are like, we don't want to be aligned with the elites. So they're like, well, we're going to destabilize your country. And can't nobody tell me that the CIA ain't involved over there with trying to overthrow Romania and Slovakia and Slovakia or Slovenia. I don't know. Either one. You know what I'm talking about. Go look it up. And Georgia and the rest of everything that's going over there. They tried to overthrow Hungary too. And let's not talk about Belarus. Okay. It's a problem, you guys. We just overthrew the Syrian government. And I told you guys, if you listen to this show, I told you weeks ago when they were like, Israel was like, oh, well, we're going to work on doing a peace thing with Lebanon and Hezbollah. I said, watch, they're gonna go into Syria. And everybody's like, no, they're not gonna go into Syria. What happened? It's not even two weeks later. They went into Syria, just like I told you. Just exactly what I predicted happened. Why? Because you can war game that out. You can see it as plain as day. If you look at it and you're following what's going on, you can see it. It only makes sense. It only makes sense. So we need to be very careful. Last night, the Russians were like, we're just putting hypersonic missiles in Belarus now. Are you serious? Well, first of all, if they nuke all of Europe, it don't make no, never mind me. Okay, you already know how I feel. America first, last, and always. Okay, there ain't one country I care about other than the United States of America. Maybe Japan a little bit, but that's because I like them and their culture a lot. I like them. Okay, but still, again, America first, last, and always. Okay, and Japan can become a state of the United States also if they want to, a territory or whatever. I don't care. We need it. We shouldn't have never let the Philippines go. No offense to anybody that's Filipino. But we should have kept the Philippines, should have never let them go. We should have never done what we did in the Philippines. That's a whole nother thing. We should have never done that. But anyway, we're getting ready to tie up here in a couple seconds here because we're coming to the end of our show. We're going to talk more. I got some more episodes coming up. So tune into my YouTube channel, the Marcus C. Williams YouTube channel. Subscribe and share on there so you can catch all of my videos. If you're online, like, share, subscribe, hit some comments, drop some little emojis and stuff in there. And we're going to do another show a little later this evening, and you can catch that. And we're going to have more programming, but that's why we're raising money. That's why we're looking to do donations. So please remember, you can donate via Cash App. That's $MW Real, the number one. That's the digit one. You can donate on givesendgo.com/Marcus C. Williams, or you can donate via PayPal or Venmo, and that's at Marcus C. Williams on both of those platforms there. We'll catch you guys next week, Monday, on WRFZ 106.3, Rochester Free Radio. This is The Divide with Marcus C. Williams. I'll catch you guys next week. You guys, remember, stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Be blessed and be well. I'll catch you later. All right, guys, I'll catch you guys later. You be blessed and be well.